Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kim and this is Expedition Through Pages. Today I'm going to be playing May's installment of Tales from Two Trails, which is my TBR game that I play every single month. If this is the first time that you're watching, I will link down in the description to a video where I went over all the rules and what's going on and everything like that. But the basic premise is that I have to start on either one of these paths and work my way down to the very bottom where there is a good thing for me and a bad thing for me. Good thing being a book haul and the bad thing being a book unhaul for this round. It will change every single round. You guys can also affect the game if you would like to play along, in that if you fulfill one of the prompts during that particular month, then I can use it as a step forward on the board in the next round that I play it. And if you end up reading one of the books that I say I'm going to read and then I don't read them, then I have to take a punishment, basically. More details to that will be linked down in the comment section. I'll pin a comment which explains that in more detail if you'd like to join in. But yeah, that's the basic premise. I have already done the rolls for this. I did film before that, but the footage is not useful. So here we go again. But I will insert the clips to my rolls and talk to you about the books that I have ended up choosing for them, which is very exciting. So the first thing to say is that I have no punishments this month, which is amazing for me. Nobody read a book that I was supposed to read and didn't read. And I also read book 10 of the Odyssey that I needed to read before the end of March. I read that section of the book just because I just finished reading Circe by Madeline Miller and I wanted to read an original text that related to Circe's story. And it was really weird because it was a part of Circe's story that was so well fleshed out in Madeline Miller's book that actually reading it in the Odyssey, it felt just like a shell of a story, which I suppose is the point of Madeline Miller retelling her story, so she can actually flesh it out. And yeah, but it was just a really weird experience, especially after just finishing Circe and thinking, oh no, but you missed that bit of information out, and oh no, but you know, it was good to read though. The only thing that I struggled with is knowing which version of the Odyssey to read and which translation to read. If you guys have any recommendations for certain translations of the Odyssey to read, then I'd absolutely love to know, because I had a little bit of a look for a while and I think I just got really confused and just picked whatever was on script that had the most stars. So yeah, that's kind of what I did. But yeah, anyway, so no punishments for me, which is great. So how did my reading go in April? Basically, okay, what I'm going to do is, because I have to read the books in order on my game in order to progress down the path, I'm going to start with the very last prompt that I pulled and let you know if I read that book, and if not, then I will need to step backwards on the path and so on until I reach a point where, okay, I finished the books. So the very last prompt that I landed on was series continuation, and in my last TBR I said that I was going to read Fool's Assassin by Robin Hobb. I did also say that that might be a stupid book to pick. Could I wait until I'd read 3 other books before I got to this one? And the answer is no, I could not. And I started it too early, so it doesn't count for series continuation, although I did complete this book in April, and guys, it was so good. I absolutely loved it. Like, if you love The Realm of the Elderlings, or if you even like The Realm of the Elderlings, I feel like you will love this book. It's number 14, so definitely don't read it unless you've read the others. It's full of spoilers, but so much stuff happened in this book, and it had a bit of a lull, like just after, I would say, midway through. But other than that, it was like fantastic, and it's really set up for book 2, and I'm desperate to get to it. So I'm supposed to be doing this with the Elderling Along, which is run by Becca from Becca and the Books and a bunch of other people, but I don't know if I can wait for the live show for this book before reading the next one, to be perfectly honest. Anyway, that didn't count for series continuation because I read it too quick, and I didn't end up getting to that prompt anyway, so I need to step back, which means I have to move back across the bridge from the green path to the red path. If you don't know, the green path really helps me with my 2022 reading goals, and the red path really hinders those a lot more, so I don't want to be on the red path basically. But back we go, because I'm an idiot and I read my book too quick. And the prompt before series continuation was page count, and I rolled a dice and I ended up having to read a book that starts with the number 1, and no, a book with a page count that starts with the number 1. And so for that, I also combined it with my punishment for last month, which was that I had to pick from my partner's shelf instead of my own shelf. And for that, I ended up choosing The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger, and I haven't read this yet, but it is currently the 26th of April, and this is really short. I mean, it has like 100 and something pages, 192 pages, so I'm really confident I can finish this by the end of April. Did I say March? I meant April. If I don't finish it by the end of April, then next month I will take a punishment for it, but hopefully not. And so because I'm staking a claim that I will read this before the end of April, that means that I will be keeping my peace on this spot for now. So I'm not moving back anymore this month. The prompt before that one was word of the day, and that ended up being Holnada. And it means something about walking through the desert with no water all day, or like needing water all day or something. I'll put the definition up here so you can see the full definition. But yeah, it was something about walking through the desert and not having water. And for that, I did want to read Empire of Sand, but I started reading it on Scribd. It was on the PDF version of a book on Scribd, and I don't know like what's going on with their PDF versions, if they are proper ebooks, because it seems like different people can upload different PDFs. I'm a bit confused. Anyway, long story short, they got rid of it when I was on chapter 4 and it wasn't in the library, so I had to ditch it, unfortunately. But I was enjoying it. It was good, so it's a shame. I do want to get back to it at some point if I can get my hands on it. But basically, yeah, I had to ditch it and make a quick decision about what other book I was going to read. I did have some people on Instagram help me out, which was really kind. And I ultimately decided to go with The Little Prince, because The Little Prince is very short and I thought it was a kid's book, but reading it, I was pretty shocked that it kind of isn't a kid's book. I did read on Goodreads that you could give it to like age 6 and up, but I felt like it was pretty heavy. Like it had some talk of an alcoholic and it was pretty dark in places, so yeah. And then when I spoke to my stepmom about it, she was like, oh yeah, it's kind of a kid's book, but it's written for adults. And it did say somewhere that you should read it at different points in your life for different perspective, which is interesting, and I can see why now that I've read it. But yeah, this is set in the desert and you're following a guy who meets the Little Prince and he tells him about his life and where he's from. And I guess the point of the story is looking at how adults have their priorities in all the wrong places, which is a fair thing to say. And yeah, I really liked it. I ended up giving it 4 stars. That suggestion actually came from a comment under my last TBR video from Liana. So thank you so much to Liana for suggesting The Little Prince, because I ended up really liking it, and yeah, I'll probably reread it again. It was funny. I wasn't expecting it to be funny either, and it was. And then the last prompt that I needed to fulfill, which was the first prompt that I landed on, it was the non-fiction square, and for that I ended up reading Poverty Safari by Darren McCarvey, and yeah, I really liked this one actually. It wasn't really quite what I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting, but for the first half of this book, it's mainly Darren speaking about his life and his experiences. He grew up on an estate just outside of Glasgow, I think on the outskirts of Glasgow, and he spoke a lot about his childhood and about things that happened to his town and the way that it changed in negative ways. He spoke about his mother and the violent kind of upbringing that he had and the violent community he was living in, and how that affected him and how that affected the way that he viewed other parts of society in the UK and stuff like that. And then as we move through the book, it does start intermingling more with his views on politics and his views on the way people communicate with one another, which was really interesting to read actually, because there are some non-fiction books that I pick up because I want to be challenged. Like, for instance, if I pick up a book on feminism or I pick up a book on racism, like I actively want to find out, is there a part of my behaviour or my attitude that needs changing because I'm harming people in some way. With this, I didn't expect to be challenged in the way that I was. Okay, before I say what I'm going to say, I got the vibe from this book that Darren McCarvey's politics is more left-leaning, but it criticised the behaviour of some people on the left during Brexit, and the people he was criticising was basically me and the way I reacted after Brexit, and the ranting and the raving and the complaining and the upset that happened after Brexit. I am guilty of all of that. I was outraged, I was devastated, blah, 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 blah. And in this book, he challenges that kind of response and talks about why it was unhelpful. And I found that really interesting. It was funny because I wasn't expecting it, and then he said it and I immediately got my back up, like, hang on a sec, like, I'm coming from a good place here with what I was doing. And then the more he talked about it, I felt like the end of this book was really talking about the importance of listening to people with differing views and trying to actually have a conversation about it rather than just having a rant and shutting conversation down. Yeah, I don't know, it was an interesting book in that respect towards the end. I won't say that I agreed with absolutely everything, but it definitely made me have a different perspective and made me question my behaviour at the time of Brexit. This was written in 2017, so it's pre-pandemic, and I do believe he's written one book, I think, and maybe has another one coming out, which I'm interested in reading like a more up-to-date view from Darren. So yeah, I'm glad I read this. It was good. There are some books that I really wanted to get onto this TBR. I've already done the rolls, so I know whether or not I did, but I'll just share them with you so you know what they are before I play the game. But the first book that I really wanted to get onto the TBR, as long as I could get it on the first roll, because I have to read it at the start of May, is Love Marriage by Monica Ali. This book I'm reading for my Friends and Family book club that we do every single month, most months. This is a contemporary book about love and marriage. I really don't know anything else other than that, and it just doesn't sound like it's up my street, to be perfectly honest. I don't really read much contemporary. The most of the contemporary that I have read I haven't loved, so yeah, I'm cautious, especially because it's so fat. But the thing is, Monica Ali has been shortlisted for the Booker Prize before, so yeah, I mean, maybe this will surprise me and I absolutely love it, but I do need to read it ASAP in May because our book club is halfway through May, and this is actually a library book and it's due back on the 13th. So it definitely needs to go in at the very start of the TBR if it's going to go into my Tales from Two Trails TBR at all. So yeah, anyway, that's the first book. I'm worried about that one, guys. I'm worried about it. The second book I want to get on the TBR is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I started this ages ago and I got to page 74-ish and stopped reading it because of other reads that I wanted to do. I tried to get it on last month's TBR, couldn't, so this month I really want to try and put this on. The other book I want to put on is In the Shadow of the Banyan. This is a book that I'm halfway through as well. By the way, I absolutely allow halfway through books to be put on this game, so if you want to join in the game, it's all about finishing the books we've started. It's all about, you can read a brand new book if you want to, but even if you're like 10 pages to the end and you want to finish it in May, absolutely fine, it will count for the game. So yeah, In the Shadow of the Banyan, I'm halfway through, and I'm reading that for my Reading Around the World challenge, which is epically slow, so I really want to get that on the TBR as well if possible. And the very last book that I want to get on the TBR is The Winter of the Witch by Catherine Arden, because this is the last one in the Winter Night trilogy and I want to finish it, and I'm really enjoying that series, so I want to get to it and finish that up. Just before I show you the rolls, I will show you what everybody else read in the month of April for the game and where I end up starting from on the board. Let's zoom in so you can see a bit better. And yeah, let's find out what's going on. So I'm going to go to my video and just go down the comments. If anybody's answered who has a channel or a blog that I know about, then I will link down in the description to the channel or the blog or Instagram account. So if you have any social media that you want me to share and you have got me one step forward, then please just let me know your details and I can add it in the description. Okay, first up we've got Tabara's Den, and Tabara read a prompt for Jornada, which was Rock with Wings by Anne Hillerman, which is a Southwest detective novel. So thank you very much for that, and I will take a step forward. I'm not going down the waterfall though, I'm just stopping by, I'm looking at it, and I'm moving on. Next up we've got ManorClassics. So I've got a +1 from them reading book 6 in the Fran Faraday series, which is called Mixing with Murder, so thank you very much for that. Okay, next we have Heather Hutchins, who read a few actually, I think. So, oh yeah, Heather rolled a 5 for her page count. So she had to read a book over 500 pages. So I'm sorry for that, Heather. And the book that she read for that was The Rogue Witch by Chandel Lavorne. And then for continuation of a series, she read At Your Age, Eve Brown. And then for the word Jornada, she read The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas. And yeah, so thank you so much for that. I shall move one step ahead. Ooh. The Rogue Witch as well was from a series that I thought looked really interesting. So yeah, and it had really high ratings. So I do want to check those out at some point. Okay, so next up, Louisa read Abhorsen by Garth Nix. I don't know if I'm saying that right. And this was for a series continuation as well. With the first book, I looked it up and it was called Sabriel, and it looks really good actually. So yeah, I'm intrigued about that one as well. So thank you, Louisa. Next up we have June, who read, for random page counts, The AI Who Loved Me by Alyssa Cole, which is a romance with science fiction elements. I didn't see that comment before I did this video, so I'm not sure what that book is, but it sounds intriguing. So thank you very much for that. Then we've got one from Marlene, who read The Survival of Molly Southbourne by Tade Thompson, and that was for the page count prompt as well. That was a nice short one. That's a horror novella, and one that Marlene assures me I should maybe avoid if I don't like too much gore and body horror, which I don't because I'm a wuss. So one step forward from Marlene, thank you. Ashley from Ashley's Media Addiction read Queen of the Damned by Anne Rice, which is book 3 in the Vampire Chronicles for series continuation. Thanks, Ashley. And yeah, that's it. We moved really far, guys. Thank you so much. That's awesome. How many steps did we move? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7! That's amazing. I don't do whatever's on this prompt. I just start from this position and carry on down. Okay, because of me, we're back on the red path. And if I just had pulled my weight, we would be on the green path and it would be happy days, but no. Okay, let's go for roll number 1. 3. Oh, I knew we would get this one, you know. I knew it. 1, 2, 3. This is start a new series. Because that's just what I need. Okay, so roll number 1 got me read the first book in a series, which is a hindrance because one of my goals was to complete series that I was already in the middle of, so already the red path has done me bad. But there is actually a book that is the first book in a series that I do really want to read, and it's Dawn by Octavia E. Butler. This is a sci-fi book that follows a woman who wakes up in a room and doesn't know where she is, what's going on, who's put her in this room. I think she does have some memories of the past, but she's just really confused. And I think it's kind of set around the time where humanity is basically going to destroy itself. And yeah, that's all I'm going to say because I don't really know anything more than that and I don't want to say anything I shouldn't. It sounds really intriguing, and I did read the first chapter for a try a chapter reading sprint that I did with Amy from A Star Reads, and yeah, so I already was really intrigued with the first chapter and I'm excited to start it properly. Roll number 2. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes! So yeah, I've gone down the waterfall, so that means that... Oh, can you even see? Oh yeah, you can see. Let's move that up a bit. So basically this means that I can choose either way to go around the waterfall. It doesn't have to be one way or the other, but once I choose a direction, I have to stay in that direction until I'm out of the waterfall. So yeah, this is exciting. I haven't been on the waterfall before. But this prompt is the one we landed on, and this means read a book featuring water. So hopefully I can do that. I can't think of any on the top of my head. Roll number 2 got me back on the green path, which was epic, and also we went down the waterfall, so going around the Lake of Joy. So the Lake of Bad. These aren't the real names, I think I gave them, but anyway, whatever. The bad lake is on the red path, and it's all bad prompts that I don't want, but the green path has loads of prompts that are really amazing and lovely, so good job we're going around the green path, the green lake. But yeah, roll number 2 landed me on the water square, and that just means read a book featuring water, and actually In the Shadow of the Banyan does feature water, and so that is the book I'm going to read for this prompt. In this book, you're following from the perspective of a 7-year-old girl, her family's journey and what happens to them after the Khmer Rouge come into Phnom Penh and basically evacuate the whole city in Cambodia. And yeah, like I say, you follow them on their journey and what happens to them during that whole period. So it's a historical fiction book. And yeah, I've read half of it, like I said earlier, and I'm really keen to get back to that one and finish that up. So I'm pleased that I could get it on the TBR. Okay, roll number 4. 5. So I can either go this way or this way. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's TBR, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 page count. So it has to be TBR, right? So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and on to TBR. Roll number 3, I landed on this TBR book thing, and it was a disaster zone, guys, because I'd forgotten what the little symbols meant, and I do have a list, so I was going down the list trying to work out which one matched what. I basically had to decipher my own text to try and work out what each little symbol around the lake meant. I don't know why. I wrote the list of what they meant, but I didn't draw the things. So what's that about? Anyway, they're all very, very similar but slightly different, so it was a bit of a mare. But I eventually whittled it down to, I think the TBR book means newest on my TBR. So that's what I'm going with, newest on my TBR. So newest acquired book basically on my physical TBR. And actually, when I filmed this earlier and it's all gone wrong, I picked a different book to the one that I'm going to pick now. And that's because I got some book post and I'm so excited because Amy from A-Star Reads has so very kindly sent me Wires and Nerves by Marissa Meyer, which is the graphic novel in the Lunar Chronicles series. And I'm just so happy, like so happy that she sent me this because I really want to read it. It's a graphic novel and the only copy that I could get was like blurry on Scribd. And it's just amazing. I can't thank you enough, Amy, honestly. It was so nice. The parcel arrived and I was like, I haven't ordered anything. And yeah, oh my gosh, I'm so happy with this. Thank you so much, Amy. I really appreciate it. And I'm really excited to read it. So this is officially the newest book on my physical TBR. Oh, maybe I should hang on. Maybe I should use this for Magical Readathon because I'm having second thoughts, guys. I'm having second thoughts. Okay, change your plan. Basically, I'm going to use this for Magical Readathon and to use it for the prompt, read a book set in the future, because that's what this is. And yeah, I have already started a book for that, but I'm not very far in. So I think actually I'm going to use that for this and get this read this week, which is exciting. So scrap that. I'm not using that for this prompt. Not Wires and Nerve. What I'm going to use instead is another book that I bought really recently. Last week, I think I bought it. And it's The First Woman by Jennifer Nansabuga Makumbi. And yeah, this book was actually covered by, I just went in my local bookshop and was browsing and I ended up buying this book and Ariadne as well, which I'll show you that cover. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. But I decided to go with this one because I'm really intrigued by it. I haven't heard of it other than in the shop. Like I said, it was a bit of a cover buy. And also because when you look in the flap bit, there's loads and loads of good reviews in there. So yeah, I'm intrigued by it. But it says on the back that this is a mix of Ugandan folklore and modern feminism. And it follows a young girl in her teens that has a lot of questions about her life. She has a lot of questions about her mum and none of the adults will answer her and she's just really confused. And it does say she ends up moving into a world of magic and that just really intrigues me. So yeah, plus the book is stunning and I really want to get to this. So I'm actually going to read this one. And roll number 4, the last one, is another 3. And a big happy smiley face that I now have no clue as to what that means. But I guess it means something good. It's a happy face. I best go find out. And lastly, roll number 4 was the happy smiley face. And I'm pretty sure this means mood read, which is amazing. And I think I will just keep it as a mood read. But for the sake of my game, I'm going to tell you a book that I'm in the mood for. And so if anyone reads this and I don't read it, then I will have to take a punishment next month. But I just thought I couldn't just leave it as nothing. So I'm going to choose this book. And the book I'm choosing is Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. And I'm choosing this one because I'm in the mood to complete this book. So even if I'm not in the mood to read this book, I'm in the mood to complete it. So yeah, this is the official book that I'm going to put for the mood read. So it might change, like I say. In fact, I'm allowed to change any of these. But if I do choose to change it and one of you guys reads it instead, then I have to take a punishment. So it is risky if I want to switch out my books. It's not completely risk-free. But yeah, so that's it. That's the end of the video. Take 2. But yeah, I'm really excited. So here is my official TBR. These, and in addition to that, also In the Shadow of the Banyan. That's my second book to read. But yeah, so it turns out I didn't manage to fit on The Winter of the Witch, but I'm hoping I can squeeze it on anyway because this TBR seems quite small. And also, of course, Love, Marriage. This needs to be read first. So yeah, when this goes on, it actually suddenly looks quite a bit bigger. If you would like to take part for next month, then the information to join in will all just be down in the pinned comment in the description. No, it will be in the pinned comment in the comment section, and there I will go through and I will list all the prompts that came up as well, just so you know, and the books that I'm going to be reading for them. So if you did want to read one of these books, then it's just easier for you to remember what's on my TBR. I'm not taking part in any readathons in May, I don't think, but there is going to be Amy from A-Star Reads 48-hour readathon for her TBR game in celebration of her reaching 1,000 subscribers, which is so great. Yeah, so that I'm taking part in that, and that's gonna be at the end of April, crossing over into May. So the 1st of May will be the second day of that readathon. I can mainly join in on the Saturday, which is still April, and then I'm a bit busy on the 1st of May. But yeah, I'm still really looking forward to it. I will link down to Amy's video in the description if you want to go and watch it and take part. There's going to be sprints. She's going to be kind of like doing roles for her TBR game as she goes along, and I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be amazing. So yeah, good times. Okay guys, that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Take care guys, bye.